There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I see with new eyes, allow and unfold.
And we are here. Welcome to the House of Love. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day to you wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. You are listening to the Ade Show on 12 Radio, 12radio.com. I am your host, Ade Anifawushe, life coach Ade. Whatever you want, it's all good. You get to decide. All right. Yeah. You're listening to the Ade Show on 12 Radio, where we are changing the way you dance with life and the way you create your reality. If you're listening live, thank you. If you're listening to the replay, thank you. If you're listening to the on-demand, thank you. However you're listening, we are grateful for your presence. Scott Weaver is our producer for the day. Thank you, Scott, for producing, for getting me in check. It is Transformational Tuesday, June 4th, 2019. Time check, it's 2 after the hour. And today is a special day. It marks a very symbolic moment in my life, on my journey of life. Today is actually the 5th anniversary of being on 12 Radio. So, well, let me say it this way. The first talk show, because Mark had a musical show thing that we did in the weekend, and some of the hosts participated in that. That was my introduction to 12 Radio. And then when that ended, I don't know, 2-3 months later, something like that. What was it called again? The Sounds of Soul gave birth to Soul Food for Your Consciousness. And the first show of Soul Food for Your Consciousness aired June 3rd, 2014. I can't believe it. I really cannot believe it. However, Sounds of Soul and Soul Food for Your Consciousness gave birth to the Ade Show. So I am grateful for my parents for allowing me to stand in the truth of who I am and declaring my name. What a journey. For those of you who have been listening since then, thank you. If you just joined today, thank you. If you joined a few months ago, a few weeks ago, thank you. Wherever you are, maybe you're joining later in the future. Thank you. Thank you for being part of my journey. It's been one to celebrate, and I am doing that. And it feels good to capture those past experiences and see how far I've come. And funny enough, we had a conversation like that. It's like you go back and see some things, and it does things. Anyway, yes, it is 3 after the hour. We are talking about God and money. Yep, I'll tell you more about that because I want to keep this moving. If you want to hang out in the chat room, if you've never been there before or been there, or maybe you've been there before, you sort of can't remember how to get there, I'll tell you how to get there. It's real simple. Go to 12radio.com if you don't know that already, 12radio.com. Click on the link, top left, chat. That will bring you in. You need a Facebook account in order to come into a chat room. Why? Because the chat room is a closed group, a Facebook closed group. it's closed. That means whatever you post in there will not show up on your timeline. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But be responsible for what you do share what am I trying to say? What you share in the chat room. Wait a minute. Okay. Rev, you can still hear me, right? Because
yes.
I just muted. Okay, good. All right. I was getting some notifications, and I wanted to get rid of that. So if you get to the chat room to find the banner, which I am going to go in there now, as you'll be in there already once you're approved, if this is your first time. Look for pinned post, PINNED post, and then click on comments, and feel free to like, to love, to ha-ha'd it. Facebook will tell you, someone just ha-ha'd your comments. Like, what does that mean? And you will see Renee in the house. Kwale is in the house. You will see Alicia. You will see Danny, Eva, Ever, because she said I could say Eva or Ever. She doesn't mind. That's how I would say both, okay, just in case you're wondering. We are going to have a great conversation. You can add your questions. You can share your questions, ask your questions. There you go, in the chat room. And I'll be happy to share it with Rev D, Reverend Deborah L. Johnson. She joins me every first Tuesday of the month. Brace yourself. Get ready to take off. As I always say, she's going to drop spiritual truth like it's hot. Spiritual truth is hot. Once it touches your consciousness, you will never be the same. You drop everything that no longer serves you. And she is a great, divine, compassionate, loving servant of the truth. And for those of you who are not in the chat room that I call my silent listeners, thank you for tuning in. And the regulars, the executives, what they call them, I don't know, the officials, New Jays, Michelle, Tanya, thank you for being here. So let me do some quick announcements because I want to get into this conversation. Some of you may have noticed on social media that I created a GoFundMe account campaign for a course that I'm starting this month called Sexological Body Work. It is a mouthful. Sexological Body Work. Well, there's so much I can say about it, but the course itself is really, for me anyway, is an opportunity to support people in healing and embracing sex, embracing their sexuality, embracing who they are. For me, it is very important. If we're on a spiritual journey, it is important to embrace our spiritual self, our spirituality, to embrace sex is a sacred act, because if it wasn't for sex, you wouldn't even be listening here. Well, maybe you came about in a test tube. I guess you don't. Yeah, if you're a test tube baby, I don't know what to say about that. But anyway, generally, most of us, it's because of sex we're here. And your sexuality, it is important to embrace it. Spirituality and sexuality, when we embrace it, in my opinion, when we align with it, we can operate, we can live from a place of true authenticity. Your sexuality is your creative life force. Don't take it for granted if you are. But so, yeah, this course will allow me to get more knowledge and also sex education. There's so much going on in the world right now. And I believe we're in a time where it's time to really be the agent of change. So whatever information we need, whatever information I need, I'm going to go get it. Whatever information you need, go get it. And be the change. Don't worry about other things ain't happening the way you like it. You notice it because you're supposed to do something about it. So if you're interested, if you want to support me financially, in thoughts, with love, however you want to support me, I thank you. You can go to my website, lifecoachade.com, to find out more information. And that's lifecoachade.com. What else do I want to tell you? I want to tell you about something that I can't think about. I don't know what it is. Okay, so we'll keep it moving. I am a psychic 1-2 advisor. Don't like psychic. Doesn't work for me. 1-2 advisor, 1-2 listen. So you can find me there after the show. And if I'm not there, feel free to reserve, schedule. I'm doing too much. I'm trying to post this link in the chat room. And so information about the course is on my homepage, lifecoachade, lifecoachade.com. And 12listen.com, 12listen.com. You will find me there after the show. Okay, let's see. I think that's it. I want to get into this conversation. I've got so many questions for FD. So those of you who don't know Rev D, we call her Rev D because she gave us permission to call her Rev D. Her full name is, if you call her Reverend Deborah Johnson, nah, don't even go there. That's her name, Reverend Deborah L. Johnson. She is my heart. I love her so dearly. And every time she's here, I'm always feeling lifted. And she has truly, truly been part of my transformation. And because of her, watching her, seeing her, how she delivers truth, has helped me free myself in the ways that I express myself, ways that I judged before. And then when I listen to her, I'm like, oh, shit, I can do that. The hint isn't what I just said. But anyway, Reverend Dr. Deborah L. Johnson, affectionately known as Rev D, is the founding minister and president of Inner Light Ministries, an omni-faith outreach ministry dedicated to teaching the practical application of universal spiritual principles to all of life's circumstances. She holds a vision of oneness beyond creed and doctrine and feels particularly called to heal the sense of separation between those adhering to conservative and progressive ideologies. If you want to find out more about her, I encourage you to check out more about her, to check out her spiritual home, a spiritual center, Inner Light Ministries, that's plural, innerlightministries.com or .org. I think both takes you there. And her personal website, it is DeborahLJohnson.org. That's DeborahL, the letter L, Johnson.org. And she's also on Facebook. And if you are friends with her, you may have got a notification of the talk she did this past Sunday. Check it out. I will post those two links in the chat room. But if you're not in the chat room and want to find out more about her, you can go to YouTube and type Deborah L. Johnson. You can go to Facebook and do Deborah L. Johnson. It will take you there. And so that's it. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as I multitask. No, don't do that. You're good at it sometimes. I'm going to post this link in here. Rev D on Facebook. Why multitask when you can take your time? There we go. So, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, psychics and skeptics, physical beings and non-physical beings, join me in welcoming my sister, my friend, my mentor, myself, Reverend Dr. Deborah L. Johnson. Hey, Rev D.
Hello there, everybody.
Welcome home.
Good to be here, as always.
Yes. Ooh, I feel your energy. I'm feeling your vibe. Maybe I'm just feeling me, feeling you, or maybe I'm just projecting all over you. I don't know, but it feels good. I don't know where it's coming from, but it feels good. So, I always feel like when you come, it seems like it's been a long time. Even though I still get to see you, you don't really get to see me because I can spy on you through the magic of internet, watching everything. But how have you been? What's been going on in your world?
I've really been doing well. It's quite a time in my life, and of course, as synchronicity would have it. Listening to you talk, I just recently completed a 3-week workshop on healing our relationship to love and money. And next week, I'm going to be starting a 3-week workshop specifically on sacred sexuality. So considering this topic and the things that you've just said, I'm right there.
Mm-hmm.
I love what looks like synchronicity, and I know that it's just this crazy divine order that's always going on.
Yes, and it gets better. Let me tell you this. I did, because I mentioned it last month that you were doing something about love and money and relationships. But this came for me when I created the GoFundMe account
Mm-hmm.
and I put it out there. And I remember, I think it was last Thursday, and I put it out there. And I felt so raw, so vulnerable. I was like, oh, what did I just do? What did I just do? Why? Because one, I felt like I came out in two ways. One, I'm talking about taking a course about about sex and sexuality. It's like, whoa, people, I don't know how many people are really ready for that. But because it's not something that we're always talking about. It is something that, it's like, we don't talk to our children about it. We just have what we have about it. Whatever the conclusion we have about it, we have that. And then here I am asking people to donate to my campaign. So I didn't really mind too much about telling people about the course. It's the fact that I now have this GoFundMe account and saying, sending it out to friends and text or messaging or WhatsApp. And I just felt, it took me 2 days to kind of find my center. I was like, I just feel so raw, so vulnerable, so exposed. And you talk about synchronicity and divine order. In order for me to heal that, I didn't hear back from anybody for a while. I wanted somebody to say, I got it. I'm going to make a donation. And so in that time of being vulnerable and dealing with my stuff and judging myself, like maybe I shouldn't have put it on Facebook. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I was able to just sit into that uncomfortable place and think, what is really going on here? What is true for me here? Why do I feel so vulnerable about presenting myself, what I'm doing, and asking people to contribute? I had a lot of stories about that. And for me, I just felt like, you know what? I'm ready to heal this. And one of the things that came up for me was, I was able to be with that, if you want to call it wounding, that belief, that way of thinking, oh, I don't deserve to ask or for people to help me. And then I thought, wouldn't it be good to talk about God and money? Because there's a lot of misconceptions around it. And I know probably only you and I that are interested in this topic, but I thought, just in case there might be just one person out there, well, let's do it on the show. And that's kind of how this came about for me. And the more I've thought about it, it's just like, oh, this is a much needed conversation. I know I've said a lot, I've shared my story, and I really want to hear what you have to share, what you have to offer. And I don't know, I got questions, but I just want to really release it to you because I know something is already triggered. But if you want me to ask a question, I will. Whatever you want to do, let's dance.
I'm fine either way. But perhaps I'll start by making some comments that as I was just listening on Facebook to my last sermon on Sunday, I got to the first 10 or 15 minutes or something like that. And our monthly theme at Inner Light now is wholeness. And my topic on June the 2nd, 2019, was towards a higher purpose. And I was explaining that in terms of us to really experience our wholeness, because our essence is already perfect, whole, and complete. But our little ego self can never really experience its sense of wholeness until it connects to something larger than itself. So there's something about the ego that feels like it's missing something. It isn't that it's missing something, it's that it's longing for connection. And until it can feel itself connected to something larger than itself, it can't feel its own wholeness. So the dilemma here is that we chase after people, places, and things to give us that sense of wholeness or completeness, with the idea that once I get that, then I can give myself permission to see myself as whole. Since the ego is always looking for something outside of itself to connect to greater than itself, it perceives those things it's chasing after as being greater than itself. So the money's bigger than I am. The relationships are bigger than I am. The career stuff is bigger than I am. And once I get it, I'm legitimized in some kind of way. You know, once I get it and can locate myself within the context of it, then I can think more of myself, or my self-value goes up, or my self-worth goes up. So it's kind of a beware of this human tendency, because of the way that our human psyche works, and trying to experience our sense of wholeness, not get the wholeness. We already have the wholeness, but we don't experience it isolated. We only experience it integrated. And money, relationships, and money is just the symbol that we use regarding our abundance and our sufficiency. And when we think that these things are greater than we are, instead of realizing that it's who we are, and we want to connect ourselves to the divine source of that so that we can be an open flow and channel of it, kind of like the river in search of the ocean, because I'm already water, and there's something that's drawing me to, you know, the larger body of water. It isn't like I'm going to become water once I hit the ocean. I'm already water. And it's because I'm water, I'm drawn to the larger body of water. So this thing about money and love and relationships and all this stuff, it really isn't so much about that external thing that we're chasing after. It really has more to do with our sense of relationship to it and the wholeness that we are feeling or not feeling, regardless of whether that stuff is around or not.
And that's why money can heal money problems, right?
Exactly.
If you have money problems, and you think having more money will heal it, absolutely not.
No.
So,
but that's true for everything.
Yes.
If you really fundamentally believe you do not have enough of something, just getting more of it won't make you feel secure. If you fundamentally don't believe that you're attractive or capable of holding on to a relationship, or there will never be enough people or enough love to make you feel secure in that. There just will never be. If you really believe you're not enough and you're into competition and beating people and winning as a symbol that, you know, you're top dog, there's never enough competition to heal that or to end that. It becomes its own self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes. So let's play around with this. I absolutely in alignment with you. And to, the whole thing about we learn by repetition. And depending on what we expose ourselves to, the general message about money is the more you have, the greater you are. Or some people have more and they're more powerful. And some people have less and they're poor. And, they're so poor they can't even be about change. And you've sort of covered, it's like, that's the thing about spiritual truth. It covers everything. But I really want to speak to that part of us that's subconscious mind, if you will, that would say, well, where we say, yes, I get it. But there's a programming in us, the listeners, where we somehow, it's almost like, yep, that's great. That was powerful. That was deep. But now I got to face reality. How do we go about bridging or aligning with this new way of being? Is it just as easy as saying, well, pay attention to what you're listening to, or don't watch the news, just meditate? What are things we need to examine? What truth, illusions do we have about money that we really need to start breaking down so we can break free from that bondage of money?
It's always going to start with you. We make a God out of anything that we let define us. You don't want to make a God out of money or a God out of anything. It all starts with you. It all starts with your narrative. Who am I? Who am I? Am I good? Am I enough? Am I okay? Just fundamentally okay? Am I sufficient? Do I love myself? Do I embrace myself? Does God love me? Does my life have meaning in the universe? These fundamental questions, these are the questions that must be the focus of our attention. What we're looking for, we're looking with. What you're looking for, you're looking with. We already are it. We're just seeking to become greater expressions of it. We already are abundant. We are prosperous. We are creative. We are loving. We are whole. We are balanced. We are vital. We're courageous. We're powerful. These are things that we are. It's like a continuum or a dimmer where it just goes from brighter to lesser and brighter to lesser. The essence is there. We just got to pump up the volume. Your body just has health. And it's a question of how much health is it exhibiting. You don't ever really get rid of disease. Is you increase the health so that the health overtakes the disease. But becoming healthy isn't just about getting rid of the disease, it's recognizing the health. And just like with our bodies, all the health you'll ever know is already in that body. You can't borrow it, you can't buy it, you can't get it from someplace else. It's in you. So the very place that looks like it's disease, the very place where you experience the illness, out of that place comes the health. But if we are blinded by the illnesses that are eclipsing our view, if we can't see beyond it and through it and claim the underlying health that always exists as a perfect pattern, then we're going to completely succumb to the illnesses and all those outer expressions. But it takes a bold audacity in the middle of the illness to affirm your health.
Yes.
It takes a bold audacity in the middle of the discordant relationship to call forth reconciliation and compassion. It takes a boldness in the midst of what looks like lack and limitation to stand forth and call forth the abundance. But just as you know, there's no amount of affirming that you are sick that is ever going to make you healthy. So there is no amount of affirming your not enoughness that's ever going to make you experience the abundance. You don't have to know how. You won't know how to heal your body. You have no idea about what all the cells are doing and what all the organs are doing 24/7. You don't know. And you can't get inside your body and micromanage that process. But you don't have to. You just have to direct your energy that way. You just have to point it towards the healing. You just have to put that demand out in the universe. It will bring the supply. You just have to have that deep intention and stand there. And just as with your body temple, your cells are eavesdropping on your self-talk. Like the universe is eavesdropping on our self-talk and helping to reinforce for us whatever that is that we're thinking about.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying you have the illness because you weren't thinking the right things. What I'm saying is that if you don't want the illness, then thoughts have to go towards health. It's the same thing. That if I keep reinforcing the lack, the limitation, the not enoughness, that's not going to recalibrate me up to the vibration and the frequency to turn on the abundance, to turn on the wealth. Let me say this other thing. There's an exercise that I use whenever I'm dealing with people in their relationship to money, where it's a little fill in the blank. And you fill in the blank, you complete these sentences, the first three things that come into your mind. So like number one, number two, number three. And you go back to your earliest recollections of what you were taught about money, or the lessons that you feel like you were learning out there in the world and in society. So it's questions like, what I was taught about money. Money is. The best way to get money is. If you get money easily, if you lose money easily. People who have a lot of money are people with just enough money. People who don't have a lot of money are. If you give away a lot of money, you are. And it's the most amazing thing because it is all over the map, even with one person. People who have a lot of money are powerful. They're greedy. They're selfish. They're to be admired. It's like it's for every category. It's always this multiplicity that people who are poor are humble. They're losers. It's just, it's the most amazing thing that we've just got all this junk. But what really comes up is how much negativity people have about people who have a lot of money. So there's this battle that goes on within where we say we want money, but we don't want to be one of those people.
One of those people with money, right?
Exactly.
Like, yes.
Because whatever, they're insensitive, or they're greedy, or they're out of touch.
They're not spiritual.
They're snobs. They're not spiritual. They only care about their money, or whatever that is. And we've got these tapes running, and without knowing it, we're constantly sabotaging ourselves so we don't become one of them.
I like what you just said there. We don't become one of them because we've judged them, and we certainly don't want to be one of them, so we can't get what them have. It's like we're already. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
We say we want it, but in our minds, having it would make us bad.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some stuff going on in there where we are in contradiction. And to be honest with you, there's some of that same stuff that goes on about us with our sexuality.
Yes. Yes.
It's that we want to be loved, and we want to feel whole, and we want to feel sexy, and feel like we're attractive, but at some level, a lot of us are afraid of that because we don't even trust ourselves. It's that, yes, I want to be in this relationship, and I want to feel better in this relationship, and then there's some part of this that's going, but if I'm really all that, would I be in this relationship? If I'm really all that, and I had a lot of options, I had a lot of options. What kind of person might I be?
Yeah.
Or the same thing about my partner. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, I want them fine, but if they all that fine, are they gonna stay with me?
Yes.
I mean, there's this way. We've got these little, yes, but, yeah, but, and which registers a no.
Yes.
So we wind up neutralizing ourselves. It's like the foot on the gas and a foot on the brake, and we're just not going anywhere. So we wind up
frustrated that we're not going anywhere. Like, why are we not moving forward? I can't take this. God help me! I want to move forward.
Exactly. It's kind of homeostasis. We're stuck in a status quo.
Yes.
Because we're pouring water into the bucket and then we're pouring water out. I'm doing all my affirmations, but then I'm talking trash about how bad everything is. I'm talking about I want relationships, and then I'm telling all the sad sob stories about how everybody done me wrong. I'm doing this, but then I'm counteracting it with the opposite energy field. And then we're not going anywhere. So it's not a question of tricking the universe into bringing me more. It's not a question of the stuff that's outside of you. It's that process that you just went through or are going through is working with and healing all of the excuses, why not me? Doing the inner work of being deserving.
Whew. Yes. Yes.
And that vulnerability
Ooh-wee.
of just putting it out there.
Ooh. Whew.
But let's think about it. Once again, it's just kind of being in contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
I want to open up to the laws of the universe. I want to open up to all the laws of attraction. And I want all this stuff to come to me that I'm too afraid to even declare openly that I want.
Mm, 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 mm.
And I'm expecting it to find me, but I don't want to broadcast it.
Mm.
I don't want to send a beacon out, a satellite, a lighthouse, so that anything and everything that even kind of sort of resonates with where I want to go can find me.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm going to stay cloaked under all these old stories and lack limitation and whatnot. And you're supposed to have some X-ray vision and see me underneath there.
Right.
You're supposed to look through all my nastiness and figure out I'm a loving person. You're supposed to look through all my insecurities and figure out I'm competent.
Right. Oh boy. The drama. The drama. The drama. I mean, I think of what you just said. The drama of saying, yes, I want to align. Now put it out there. Oh God, I shouldn't have done that. It's like, it's the same thing. It's like, why did I do that? I just made myself look stupid. Oh, I shouldn't have. It's like, it's the same thing, whether I don't do it or I do it and then judge myself for doing it.
Because see, what we don't have an appreciation for is that our egos like it's safe. We think our ego is what drives us to more. It's your ego that keeps you where you are. You actually have to override your ego to get to more. Because your ego is all about safety. Your ego is all about the status quo. The ego is all about keeping you where you are. Ego doesn't get us down along the step to whatever's next. Ego doesn't like the unknown. Ego would rather
don't want change.
Ego don't want change. Even if you're in a miserable situation, the ego would prefer the safety of knowing what's wrong than to step out to find out what could be right. Think of the battered woman syndrome. Think of the battered woman syndrome.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like, think of the battered woman syndrome. Keep going back to that same abusive situation. Because the ego self feels safer in that abuse. Because it knows what to expect. It knows what's going to happen. Then to walk out the door into the unknown, even if it means a better life. And can't adjust to that. Keep going back to the abusive situation. And that's the way that we are about like almost everything. It's like we're that battered person that whatever the circumstance is, that's where we get stuck. That's where we are. And when we try to venture out into something new, all those old tapes come up. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. Ooh, what's going to happen to me? Can I make it? Well, it ain't really that bad back there. Or, at least I got this. Or, like whatever. And we find ourselves back there.
Yeah. There was a comment in the chat room that I want to kind of read, but the listener, who I won't say the name intentionally, hasn't responded to me because I asked them what are they referring to. So the comment was, I don't know about that aspect of money. You have to have enough to cover shelter and basic physical needs. And I haven't heard anything that says that shouldn't be done. But the point I really want to bring out from that statement, for me, it's also is that trick of the mind, the trick of the ego. It's like, because for me, for the listener who posts that, it's like, okay, well, if you don't agree with that aspect of money, if having a new reality, a new way of thinking about it is your intention, well, what part of that aspect of money, or what do you accept about money that matches this idea that you have to have enough to cover shelter and basic physical needs, rather than, well, I don't know if I agree with that, because you have to have enough to cover shelter and basic physical needs. The trick of the mind. Go ahead.
Let me rephrase that. When I come at it from, well, I have to have enough to cover my physical needs. Yes, that's true. But it's coming from the standpoint of there's little on me here, and I don't know if I'm going to be provided for. So there's this elusive thing out there that's going to stand in between my survival and me. What I'm suggesting that whoever it is that wrote that, to get into a real consciousness of worthiness. It says, I am a child of the universe. That my life has meaning and purpose. I have a reason to be here. And by right of my pure existence, I deserve all of my basic needs being met. And I declare herein that they are met, so that I can go about the business of doing what it is that God has put me here to do. That I know that God provides for me because of who I am. And thank you, God, I am swimming in enoughness. I am swimming in sufficiency, that every place that I turn, the entire universe is conspiring to make sure that I have everything that I need to be what I'm supposed to be in this earth. Shift to that.
Got me rocking from side to side. If I didn't have a headset on, I'd be running around this place. Oh, I felt that. It is a conviction, isn't it? Conviction in the truth. It's like we have to be convicted in what we know to be true in order to shift from lack to more.
Shift to that. Not a wondering. Not a wondering. Not a guessing. Not a begging. Not a pleading. And notice that everything that I said put myself within the context of something larger. It wasn't just clothe me, feed me, do this for me. But I've got stuff to do. God has me here for a purpose. And my needs being provided for is part of the purpose. It's part of the fulfillment of the purpose. When I can't see myself as having meaning and purpose, then I can't figure out why the universe should support me. Then I got to make it about me. Who's going to help me? Who's going to do this for me? For me. No, it's not about me. Not just about me. Every divine idea comes with its own supply. Every divine idea comes with its own supply. Whoever's asking the question, you are a divine idea in the mind of God. Will you stand in that I am somebody? I deserve to be here. And why is it going to happen? Because of grace. Because of grace. Just because I am a child of God. Why does a child deserve anything? Why does a child deserve food and clothing and shelter? They ain't done nothing. They ain't worked. They ain't pay into Social Security. Baby ain't done nothing but eat and poop. Why did he deserve food and clothing and shelter? Just because we are babes. We are children of the Most High. We don't have to justify. We deserve it just because.
Just because. Just because. Just be the cause of your own transformation. We got about a minute left. Rev D, I'm telling you, I'm sitting here rocking from side to side, and I'm thinking of Johnny Coleman, that wonderful teacher in Chicago. She said, "It works if you work it."
If you work it. That's right, baby.
The spiritual truth works. If you work it.
Yep.
Or it's just on the shelf. There ain't nothing else that needs to be said. It's all been said. And Rev D, thank you. Anything you want to share with our listeners before you move on to the next task?
I would say check out my website at Deborah L. Johnson, DeborahL Johnson.org. I'd love to stay in touch. I'm developing a lot of new courses now that you're going to see online.
Oh, excitement. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all I've got to say is I love you, I bless you, I appreciate you. Woo! And I thank God for you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of this conversation, because the show is what it is because you're here. You added to this. So whatever you brought to the table, breathe it all in and share it and be willing to grow. Thank you, Rev D. I appreciate you. Always, always. I love you, love you, love you, love you. Thank you, listeners. And remember, we have a new schedule. Mark Husson is taking a break. So he'll be back soon. We love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Scott. Peace and blessings.
There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart.